Hello, this is bitbudha back again with another episode of the Blacks in Cybersecurity podcast. Today we have Carmeshia Miller, who is the Military Relations and Veterans Program Lead for Blacks in Cyber. So we just wanted her to come on and share a bit more of her experience. I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Glad to be here today. So, as he said, my name is Carmeshia Miller. I am the Blacks in Cybersecurity, Military Relations, and Veterans Program Lead. I am also the Black Women in Cyber Curriculum and Learning Experience Lead. So, a little bit about me quickly. I've been in the information technology field for over 30 years. It's the only field I've ever been in. I joined the Army a month after I graduated from high school. And my MOS was Information Systems Technician. 25 Bravo, 74 Bravo originally, then went to 25 Bravo, and then eventually converted over to become a warrant officer, was a 251 Alpha. Did 20 years in the Army, retired in 2015, so over 10 years ago, 11 years now, time flies, and immediately transitioned into a government civilian position, did that for about 5 years, and then converted over to a DOD government contractor position. So I worked a number of different jobs, done a ton of different things, worked for DISA, DHA, Department of Justice, just to name a few. Most recently do governance, risk and compliance type work, RMF, risk management framework. Also teach at Western Governors University. Currently, I've always taught part-time over the last 10 years as well. That's kind of my passion. So I greatly enjoy doing that. So that's a little bit about me.
I can't hold you. Like, I love the intro. Like, you came in like swinging. Like, you're like, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Oh my God, there's so much points we got to speak about. But first, so Military Relations and Veterans Program Lead, right? So how did you get into that role, and what does it entail?
So I got into that role originally. I got into the program by being the Black Women in Cyber team member lead for the learning curriculum. So with them falling under BIC, there was an email sent out saying, "Hey, we need volunteers for this position." And I was like, "Hey, I'm a veteran. I know about the military, so." Decided I would volunteer and see what it was about. So basically, it's a bunch of different things, but it's coordinating, trying to get the word out more to veterans and military, current active duty, and veterans or people in the process of possibly transitioning to get more involved with Blacks in cybersecurity, so that we can, get the word out and have more people that look like us and may need help with mentoring, may need help getting into the field, may need help feeling comfortable in the field, because maybe where they work, nobody kind of looks like them, or, they don't feel included. So I decided, since transitioning from the military is already a hard thing, if there's anything I can do to help that process, or anything I can do to, get more, get the word out a little bit more about what we offer, then I was all up for it. So yeah, it entails quite a few things. I'm still learning. I've only been the lead for about 2 months now, so still a learning process, but so far I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no, that's like amazing, because I think I was telling you before, like a good chunk of the people who I interviewed for this before, they all come from like the military, right? So it seems that there's a heavy military influence in the cyberspace. So is it like you help people who are leaving the military go into the civilian world, or you help people who are going into the military, or you're getting more people to join Blacks in Cyber, or all of the above?
I would say all of the above. We do probably, I would say, mostly helping people that are transitioning out of the military, or people that are already veterans. If somebody approaches us that are thinking about joining the military and want to get into cyber, we're more than happy to speak to them as well and help them out as much as we can. Like I said, I was in the field, so I'm always willing to give guidance and help people out, or mentor people who may have questions about what's the military like. Of course, I can only speak from the Army point of view, but we're more than happy to help anybody, whether they're coming in, coming out, in still, completely out. We, whatever people need, if they reach out to us, reach out to me, I'm more than willing to help.
Amazing. So you are like, you're the main, is it the thing like you're the main person doing it, or there's other people in Blacks in Cyber who are doing the same thing, or you're like the main
So
one
I'm
stop.
the lead for Blacks in Cyber, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to get more notoriety out, and we want to have like smaller leads at like the different locations, like some of the larger installations. So hey, you can be a lead for Fort Bragg or whatever it's
Oh,
called,
I see.
or you can be the lead for Fort Gordon / Eisenhower, that type of thing. That way,
Okay.
when they're local conferences or something like that, we can like set
Right.
up a booth and like get the word out a little bit more.
Oh, that's so smart. It's like we're like gradually like expanding,
Right.
expanding
Yes.
our reach.
Yes.
That's beautiful though.
That's the intent.
Got it. No, that's beautiful. And so, Black women in cyber. Tell me more about like when that started and what is the difference between the normal cohorts. I mean, like besides this being women, is it the same thing as the normal cohorts where there's like mentorship and training and like CTFs, or like how has your experience been leading that program so far?
So Black women in cyber they haven't been around that long. They're fairly new. So our cohorts are focused more on learning. So we provide mentorship. So we have a learning portion and then we have a mentorship portion. Not really mentorship, but it's like we have a networking portion at the end of our block of instructions for that evening. And then we have calendars, all of our leads for each different section in Black women in cyber have a calendar. So during those cohorts, we open up our calendar for the ladies to book time with us. And then we do the one-on-one mentoring that way. So the actual cohort is geared more towards education. And, we bring people in, we have them show them how to set up their LinkedIn profile, their GitHub profile, and then we go through like the basics. We start from like IT 101, cybersecurity 101. We do ethical hacking labs, we do SQL, we do like everything. And we solicit people from outside of Black women in cyber. So the first 3 weeks, I normally will teach that portion of it, but then we solicit people outside of Black women in cyber and we have them come in and give courses. And, we've had some great participation. This last spring was our first cohort. That's how new we are. Right. And it was amazing. So once they finished the cohort, their requirements to get in and their requirements to stay in and get the badge. But once they finish successfully, at the end, we actually have a capstone. They do a capstone as a group. And then once they finish the capstone and everything else was successful, attendance was great, then they get a LinkedIn badge showing that they finished that cohort. So it's pretty amazing.
That's amazing. And so what is the highest amount of students you could have and what are the requirements? Because I'm always trying to lean people towards Blacks. I'm like, hey, there's Black people doing this stuff. I'm always trying to like lean people towards this way. But what does someone need to, or what does women have to like qualify for it? And what is the maximum amount of women you have in each cohort?
So the only cohort we've had, the first one we started out with 50 ladies. We ended up with like, I want to say 35, 38. I'm not sure the exact number. So, and that was only because some people, had other commitments and had to come all out. Some people, didn't meet the attendance requirements and didn't come up to classes. So they were, removed. But basically the requirements are a strong will to be successful. We have them fill out an application to begin with and just explain to us why they should be accepted. It's not strictly Black women. Like we have other minority women that are in there. So, we're not going to turn away because you're not Black. So, we've had other, nationalities in there. So I want to make that clear too, because some people are like Blacks, but no, it's more than just Black women, but they need to be willing to participate. Participation is a huge one. We have a requirement that if you miss more than 2 sessions, then you can be removed from the course if you don't let us know ahead of time and have a legitimate excuse or a legitimate reason, because we value our time. All of our people are volunteers. Right. So we're volunteering, 3 hours a week just to, do the instruction, but then there's preparation to do that, ahead of time to prepare for that course. So we put a lot of work into it and we want them to actually learn from it and gain something from it. So we make sure, we do an interview prior. So we have them fill out the form, then we interview them, the ladies on the panel or the ladies on all the leads. We do one-on-one interviews with the ladies. Well, not one-on-one, the one applicant. And then all the ladies, we ask them questions. Why do you want to be here? What do you want to get from this? What can you give us, etc. And then we determine after we do the interview, looking at their application, whether or not to accept them. We had, over 100 applicants for the first cohort. And some of them, we're on different time zones. Some of them were in different times, wouldn't work out, and just different reasons. But it got that all the applicants were pretty amazing that we got. So it was hard narrowing it down, but also because we're fairly new and we have a limited number of leads. We have a total of 6 now. We didn't want to overwhelm ourselves with having like 100 people in the cohort, and we couldn't really give them the attention and the focus that they needed. So that's why we kind of narrowed it down to 50, which we think is a good number. In the future, if we get more people, more volunteers, which if you want to volunteer for Black Women in Cyber, please, volunteer with us. But as we get more people that are able to help us out, then we'll think about increasing the number of people that are accepted.
Got it. Now that's like beautiful. And I feel like it's very much so like needed, because just in tech and generate, doing this stuff alone, like people can do it, but like
it's a lot harder.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But if you have people that look like you and are from a similar background as you, who you're learning alongside with, it makes it like 1,000 times more fun. So I'm definitely glad to hear it. And on the military side, right, what do you think is the hardest part of someone coming from the military back to the civilian world? What do you think is like the hardest thing?
I would say one thing is it depends on their rank. Higher ranking people sometimes have a harder time adjusting to civilian life because they're used to being in charge. They're used to, people doing what they say because, we're required to do what you say. But on the civilian sector, like you might have been a colonel in the Army and I was only a warrant officer, so you outranked me. But in the civilian sector, I might be responsible for you, and you got to drop that ego. So a lot of times people have a problems adjusting to that, and just knowing that you're out here, you're basically a regular person. You can't pull rank. You can't say, well, when I was in the Army, I was a lieutenant. We don't care, right? So that's a hard part, a really hard part. Also, I would say just the transition of like how we do things in the military versus strictly like private sector companies. I'm not talking about DoD contractors. If you have like some of the big DoD contractors like Leidos, General Dynamics, they have those government contracts. So if you transition from the military and then go into one of those contracts, what they do is going to be similar. But if you go to a company that's completely private sector, your skill set that you did in the military is not going to directly convert over. So there's going to be a learning curve. And then a lot of times, I know for me, I've stayed in the DoD sector. I've stayed in the military government sector my entire career because that's what I'm comfortable with. And not that I don't want to go out of my comfort zone, because I do challenge myself, but I don't want to go to a position where I feel like I'm really not an asset because I don't know what your acronyms mean. I have to start all over from scratch and learn everything else. And I don't like feeling stupid. So that's also a process if you decide to go completely private sector. It's just that learning curve. It's that unfamiliarity that you have when you stay strictly like, all the acronyms in the military and the DoD, like the acronyms, I won't say always are the same, but generally are the same. So the lingo is the same. You can convert right over and just slide right in. Like I retired, my official retirement was February of 2015, but I started working my government job in December of the year prior. So I just slid right in naturally. There was no learning curve. There was none of that because it was the same environment. So when you go out of that environment, it can be harder. Not saying that it can't be done. A lot of people do it all the time. For me, it just wasn't for me.
Wow. It's so interesting to like hear about. It's almost like a fish out of like water in a sense, right? If you're used to this to a certain type of environment and then they put you in a different type of environment, you could have been a really like fast fish, right? You could have been the best fish ever in the area. But then if you're put on land, it's like, well, it's a whole different thing. So that's pretty
right. Like, are you Jaws or are you Nemo? So
that's funny. And so also you said that you retired and you went back to work. So all right, so you probably got to explain this to me. I thought when you were retired, you didn't need to work or you couldn't work no more. So you're telling me you could get retirement money and go back to work?
Absolutely. That's how you live it up. Yes. So It's different now. So now when you join the military, you don't get that retirement check as soon as you retire. So before, when I came in, and the people that were grandfathered into that program, as soon as you hit your 20 years, that next month, your retirement check kicked in. Wow. But for us that came in the Army when we were 18 and we retired at 38, you still have a lot of years to live. And it's like a lot of people that were career military people, I think, are used to working. And a lot of times people sitting at home and not doing anything, it kind of, it's foreign to us. Right. So, and then it's just kind of, you know, being nervous that you won't get a job. I mean, because, you know, the retirement is nice, but you want to be able to save that money in case you need it later. You don't want to have to spend all your retirement, or if you have a disability check, you won't have to spend all of that money. So you do want to get another job because you're more than capable of working. Right. But I think for me, the nice thing about having a retirement check is if I get to a job and I don't like that job, listen, it's deuces. Like I don't have to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this, and I'm going to move on. So you have that luxury. So other people don't have that luxury, but I think that's like the best thing. But most people that I know that retired after like 20 years, like all of my friends, all of my colleagues, we all went to work. Most of us did. So yeah. I mean, it's just like it's you know, when you do finally retire, you're going to have a bigger nest egg. Yeah. And even like when you're still working now, I get to travel and go different countries because, you know, I can afford to go and not just have to pay my mortgage, you know, using my retirement check and then like watch, you know, pinch your pennies everywhere else. But now you have a full-time job, which is now generally when you come out of the military making twice what you were making in the military. So, you know, it's not, why not? And then, you know, Social Security will build up and you'll get a higher check when you retire officially, hopefully, if it's still there. But for me, it was just a win-win. And it's like just having the freedom to know that I don't have to be here. I'm here because I like to travel is the nice part. So.
Wow, that's amazing. And so what would you say are like the top benefits that people in the military like forget about, or like they leave on like the table, or stuff that they don't utilize to the fullest, would you say?
Some major things, I would say a lot of people don't take advantage of the education. So for me, I got my bachelor's and my master's degree while I was in the military. So when I got out, I still had my GI Bill money. So a lot of people just let that money, they don't use it and it just goes to waste. Now, luckily, you can transfer it to your children if you have dependents and your spouse. But if you don't have a child or a spouse, then there's nobody to transfer it to, and they don't use those benefits. And that's just thousands of dollars that are not being used. And if you initially get out and you don't know what you want to do, or you don't get a job right away, I tell people all the time, just take a course or take some classes, start using your GI Bill, and you get your monthly housing stipend. Try to do one class in the school, so that way you get your full housing stipend, and you know that can help you live. Like in San Antonio, if you take one class in the school setting, that's $1,800 a month. So why would you give up free money on top of them paying for your school 100%? So I would say that's one of the biggest ones. One of the other ones that like is a little bit like more minor is just discounts. Like I just got SeaWorld tickets for this weekend for 8 people that would have been $800 that were 100% free.
Wow.
So those things like that, when you go to like just anywhere, you ask for a military discount, and people usually forget to ask for it, or sometimes people are too proud to ask for it, but you ask for a military discount. When you buy vehicles, they usually have $500 off, $1,000 off if you're a veteran. Just almost everything. The biggest thing for me, and I think most people probably use it, is if you buy a house and you use your VA certificate, that's no down payment, you know? So that is huge. And then on top of that, if you're, say, a disabled veteran, 100%, I don't pay taxes on my house. So that's huge as well. You know, that's a whole $1,500 off your mortgage every month. So now you can get a bigger house. But people don't take advantage of those things. So there's so many things out there that are offered to military veterans. School, the Hazelwood Act in Texas, and there are other states that will pay for your children to go to school.
Wow.
People don't take advantage of that.
Wow. There's a lot on the table. No, that's beautiful to like hear it. And even speaking about the discounts, what was it? I went to like this thing called the Mango Festival in Fairchild Gardens. This is a spot in Florida. Anyway, I went with my friend. At first we were gonna pay like what, like $20 or $30. And then this other guy asked, he said he was a vet. Initially, oh, I'm a vet too. I was in like the Navy. My friend was in the Navy. So we just got the tickets for free. And I'm like, that's amazing. You know, so
Or national parks. If you like
Yeah.
national parks, like I have the national park placard for free. So now when I go to any national park, instead of me paying, the $12 or $20 for a car of like 4 people to get in, I just show my placard and I go right on in. And all that money, all that little bit counts. It adds up.
Yeah,
So
does.
there's just so many things that are just, that will just help you out. Like cruises, there's certain cruises. You go to Margaritaville Cruise. They have cruises for veterans that are like, they're free. So just any and everything is just, people just don't take advantage of it.
Right. And I've been researching this stuff a lot because I've been thinking about the Space Force, and I spoke to you yesterday about that. But so with the biggest thing I think that I'm learning now is that military money is different than civilian money, right? Because of course, like the example, like the BAH, which is for the house, and then the BAS, which is for food, right? It's not taxed, and tax is our biggest expense in general,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So having money that's not taxed, like it's almost like how I think the example was like $1,000 military money is like $1,000 300 with the civilian money, because you got to calculate the tax. And once you calculate the tax, even if it might seem like they're making less, if you calculate the taxes that they're not paying, they're actually making a lot more. And also the medical benefit, like it's
I
like
was gonna say, yeah, and the medical benefits that aren't coming out of your check. But if you have a
Right.
job making more money, you're paying. Well, not me because I have VA and TRICARE. But for other people, you're paying. If you have a family, $600. I think that's on the low end to $1,000 plus a month for medical insurance.
Wow.
Like factor that in, and then you realize the military is not so bad. Like it can. I encourage people. I think if you don't know what you want to do with your life, or even if you do know what you want to do with your life, say you want to go to school and you don't want to have student loans, join the military. Do a short commitment. It should be everybody's duty anyway. Join the military, do your short commitment, get out. You at your GI Bill. Now you can go to school, get your degree, and have zero debt, and then get a monthly stipend for housing and be a little bit more comfortable to actually focus on your education.
Right.
It's like, it's a win-win. Like you don't have to go in and retire.
Right.
Just go in, do a couple of years, see a couple of places maybe, and take advantage of the benefits.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I feel like we're gonna like have like 1,000 people trying to join the military after this talk. But I wanted to ask more about what do you do on your your free time? Like what do you do for fun?
So I travel a lot. So I'm also like a part-time travel advisor. I say in quotes, but I started doing that because I wanted to get discounts on travel. And then the travel I was already doing anyway. Now I get a kickback of it. So that's kind of nice. But I travel. Like last year I went to Dubai, which was amazing. I went right before all this stuff started and they started bombing. So I was like, thank God, I checked it off my bucket list. The year before that, I went to Bali. Been like traveling is my thing. I've been to Costa Rica, this past May, I took my family on a cruise for my 50th birthday. I have a cruise coming up in 2 weeks. So I travel a lot. Like that's my thing. Road trips. We went to Big Bend National Park. So we like to go road tripping around Texas and, see some of the national parks in Texas. And we're going to start, expanding outside of Texas. So that, that's what I love to do is travel.
Wow. And so what spot would you say has probably been your favorite or left the biggest impression on you?
As far as traveling?
Yeah.
Oh God, I would probably say the realization of seeing some of the other countries, like some of the third world countries and how they live. We stopped in a cruise and we were in Cozumel, I think it was Cozumel. And we went on a trip to see some Mayan ruins, and just driving through the city was just like eye-opening. It's like, okay, the houses were, not what we're used to. They had they walk around barefoot. The kids were dirty. And it was, not all of them there, but like when you get off the resort area, then you kind of realize that everybody doesn't have it as good as we do. Even the poorest people in the United States probably have it better than some of the middle-class people in other countries. So it was just eye-opening that, we're really fortunate. Like we're really fortunate, and we don't realize how fortunate we are. And Americans can be really arrogant and really entitled, and it humbles you when you go see other places. Same with when I went to Bali, it was kind of the same thing. You go certain places and you're like, wow, this is different. And what the salaries that they make based off of what we make is insane. And like you give them a tip and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And you're like, okay, it's a $20 tip, but to them, that's a lot of money. So just that difference was eye-opening. So I like to see different cultures, to see how people, how they live and how they, what they're used to, so that I appreciate what I have more.
Exactly. No, I agree 1,000%, because I was in Ecuador like pretty much all of 2024, and like I loved it. It was a beautiful experience, but it definitely made me appreciate the States like a lot more, because I was born and raised here, right? But it's not until like I actually left the United States that I understood why so many people come here, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
They was talking about like, oh,
yeah. People are always like, I can't believe you walked all the way from this country to get to the Texas border. And I'm like, if you've been to that country, you know why they walked all this way to get to the Texas border, because it's any chance, any possibility for me to have a better life for me and my family. If I have to walk a few extra miles, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take my chances. People don't understand that because they've never had to understand that, and because we're so entitled in the United States. We're so self-absorbed. A lot, not everybody, but a lot of people are self-absorbed. They only care about them and what's best for them. And I think traveling would make people look at things a lot different. But some people haven't traveled outside their states or outside the United States. So you say, do you like to travel? Oh, yeah, I've been in like 10 states. No, I mean, like when I say, do you like to travel? I mean, international. Do you have a passport? So that type of thing. Like that's traveling. But, I don't judge.
I definitely understand. And that's why coming back to the States, this is even why the military came to my mind, because I'm like, it's a privilege that I have here. Even just being a citizen here, I could have access to these things. Right. Some people are like praying to have access to these things. So I feel like I got to max it out while I'm still here, because I don't plan to stay here long. But while I'm here, I'm going to max out everything the U.S. could possibly give me.
As you should.
Yes. And so what are your plans for the rest of the year? Or what are your plans just for the upcoming years?
So right now I work part-time at WGU. I think I said that before, but I don't have a full-time job now. So I took a break. And now I'm like getting back more into job hunting and, getting bored at home and needing something to do. So I'm starting to focus more on job hunting. Before it was just kind of, I would apply for stuff, and if it was a good fit, it was a good fit. If not, then whatever. But now I'm going to get, more serious about finding an employment and a good fit for me, because I have more trips I need to pay for. And then just traveling more. Like I have a Singapore and Thailand trip planned for next year. Yes, never been there, been waiting to go there. So that's scheduled. And then as far as like just Blacks in Cyber, we have DEF CON coming up. So I plan on going to DEF CON. And then HammerCon, I'm more than likely going to go to HammerCon. So that will be fun. That's in September 24th. So I look forward to that. And then just focusing more on this next cohort that Black Women in Cyber has coming up. We want to make this one bigger and better. We learned from the first one. I think the first one was great for a first cohort, but we learned a lot from it. So we have some things we want to implement, some things we want to change, and some requirements, some entry requirements that are going to be a little bit more strict. So we're going to change the requirements a little bit. So there'll be, an essay written as to why you really want to be here, because we want people to take it more serious. And we found that not all the people that were admitted, we don't think took it as serious as maybe they should have. And we want it to be something serious. We want, when you get that badge on LinkedIn, people to know you have Black Women in Cybersecurity badge. That's a tough program. That's a tough cohort. And you actually did something to achieve that badge. Like we want that reputation, especially with us just starting out. Like the sky's the limit.
Yeah, exactly. But that's beautiful. So I have 3 questions. Well, first, Thailand. I heard Thailand is like amazing, because I have friends who like visited here, and they say like the fruits over there, you could get like seeded watermelon for like $1, right? This is like amazing over there. So I'm definitely
and the cost of living, like I can go over there and live off my retirement like a boss. Like if it wasn't such a long flight home and my parents weren't older, I would be gone.
So that's beautiful. And also What is HammerCon, and when is the next cohort for Black women in cyber?
So the next cohort for Black women in cyber will be this fall. We're looking at probably
Okay.
October. It's not set in stone yet, but we're looking at probably October timeframe. So it'll be like October, November timeframe, and then ending at the end of November. But there'll be like a break, like during Thanksgiving week. But again, that's not set in stone yet, but that's our intentions. And HammerCon is a conference that the military cybersecurity professionals of America host every year. So it's something where you go and they all get together and they have it's like the typical kind of DEF CON, but for military cyber security professionals.
Where is it at?
It's in Laurel, Maryland.
What month?
It's September 24th.
Are civilians allowed to go?
I do believe so. Let me see. I'm pretty sure, yeah. You just have to, I think it's about the payment. I think the military, I think it's just the only difference is like the ticket cost. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. No, I gotta keep that in mind because in my head I always knew. I'm like, bro, I know the military has its own version of like Black Hat and DEF CON. I'm like, I know they do, and now I know what it's called. So I definitely
Well, it's technically a military organization, but it's not run by the military.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Got it. And what else I want to say? Oh, so yeah, speaking about cyber, so in your cyber career, right? Because you've been in this space for like what 30, like you've been in this space since you were like a teenager, pretty much, right? So, so in your cyber journey, right, what do you think have been the most valuable either certifications or like programming languages or like tools that you have learned or obtained on your journey?
I would definitely say it depends on your area of interest. So for me, I can only speak on mine. Mine has mostly been, like I said, RMF, government risk and compliance, assessment authorization type stuff. So for me, I think CISSP has been the most helpful. And then for the DoD portion of it, or, if you're working government contractor, you have your IAT levels and your IAM levels. So Security Plus is a requirement. And CISSP is a requirement if you want to be, certified all the way up to the highest level for IAM. Right. So I think those two, they will definitely get your feet in the door for most of those jobs if you have the experience. And then also I would say a security clearance, like that's a huge aspect of, that leads greatly to your marketability. So the security clearance, CISSP, Security Plus, I think those are an experience. That's really, I would say, most of what you need for what I do. However, if you're doing like penetration testing or, something like that, then there'll be different requirements, different certifications, right. Like CEH to start out with, which I have CEH, I have ECSA, but I don't use those. What I try to do is every couple of years, like do a certification instead of doing all the CEUs. I try to do a certification so that I can use that for my CEUs. Right. But I wanted to kind of go into project management as well. So I did my PMP, but I haven't, like, getting into that aspect and kind of transitioning has been kind of hard because my resume is not really worded as project management, even though, most of what you do at work is project management. Yeah. So, but since it's not worded like that, it doesn't look like, doesn't appear as that experience. So, most people at the senior level, they want somebody that has experience with, agile or whatever, whatever else. And, I just don't have that, but it mostly just depends on what area you want to go into. But if you just in general to get a government contractor type position, CISSP and Security Plus, I say are the minimum.
Got it. And the other thing about the CISSP, I heard several people in Blacks in Cyber, I heard like they cried over the CISSP. Was it that like hard for you or no?
So the first time I took it, I was in the military and I had literally just started information security. Right. And this was when it was a paper test. So it tells you how long ago it was, right? So I was in G6 and we had a boot camp scheduled and they were like, somebody dropped out. We have an extra slot. Do you want to go? I was like, of course I want to go. It was a free, I want to get my CISSP. Yeah. At this point, I haven't failed any certification exams because, they're not that hard. So I'm thinking I got this. So I'm sitting in class feeling fairly confident, take the test and fail. And at that time, you didn't find out till weeks later.
Wow.
Like it was a paper test. You submitted your test, they sent your email weeks later. And I felt like not much at all. So when I got the email, I was like, I will never take this test again. This test is the devil. Okay. Like it was awful because for me, I was a technician. So thinking from a management position at that time, it was just foreign to me because what I would do as a manager is different from what I would do as a technician, right? So, I didn't fully wrap my mind around that, but I was like, I hate it, never doing it again. It's the devil. So, almost 20 years later, I got my CSSP in 20, no, not maybe 6 years ago. So, I always schedule my exams like far out, maybe 6 months out, and then back plan my study plan. This chapter this week, this chapter this week. So I did that. Completely forgot I scheduled my exam.
Wow.
Completely forgot. The day before, and I was getting the notification, the reminder emails, but just for some reason, I don't know what I was thinking. I just didn't check the date, whatever. The day before the test, I get another notification. I'm like, oh, snap. I have the CISSP tomorrow. I was sick at the time and had pneumonia. So, at that point, it's too late to cancel. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I have to just go try and take it. So I went and I took it and I aced it. It was like, because I had worked in the field now for 10 years. So I knew just no studying. I just knew because I'd been doing it. So I knew how managers thought. Right. So it made the world of a difference just actually being in the field. So when people ask for study tips, I'm like, I really can't even give you study tips because I didn't study. I legit, it rolled up on me fast. And I was like, oh no, but I wasn't going to waste my money. So I was just going to go try it. And when I was so excited. And the lady that handed me the little score sheet, she wasn't excited for me at all. And I didn't appreciate that. But I was like, does she know how big this is? This is CISSP. But yeah, so it was a good feeling. So, and I felt better because I knew it. I didn't have to cram to study. I didn't have to do memorization. All people seem to need data processing for the OSI reference model. I knew it. So that felt good. Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah, that is a beautiful story. And then the fact that I just think it shows your level of experience because the fact you had pneumonia and you still passed it, it's like
I felt like death. When I tell you, I was about to just say screw it, but that's the hundreds of dollars you spent already, and it's just I might as well give it a try. I might as well. So I just went and so shocked. Yeah, I was so shocked.
That's a beautiful story, though.
Yeah, and it was also good. And I felt like it was too easy. I was like, this seems like it's really easy. So I was really nervous. I'm like, why am I not struggling like I did the first time?
Right. Well, with that 20 years of experience, you're definitely not going to struggle with the 20 years of experience with you. That's a beautiful story, though. And so, in your time, did you have to go into the programming language side at all, or the software engineering side at all, or not much at all?
No, I've never done that. I'm not the best at programming languages. I'm not I don't like writing code. I took C++ for my degree and I hated it. And I said, you know what? That will never be my specialty. So I've never had to do that, luckily.
Yeah, it's interesting because as I've been in the cyberspace, just around and just different trainings and different rules, I'm realizing as time goes on, you kind of realize the things you like and the things you don't like. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be leaning more towards that side in the future. But I also wanted to ask, because I have to ask this these days. What are your views on AI? What chatbot is your favorite? What are your thoughts on it? Your feelings on it? Just your views on AI in general.
I think AI can be a good tool. I'm not opposed to AI. I think it helps with a lot of basic job functions. I think when it comes to people solely relying on AI and not verifying what they're getting from AI, I feel like that's a problem because it's not 100%. And like we have students that will submit things and just take it as gospel and it's not correct. So
Right.
you have to let them know, hey, just because Chat GPT said this does not mean it's correct. And also, if you Chat GPT it, we know you did that because we see the dashes. So at least like modify it and change it up a little because we know that you use AI. So I think it can be a good tool, especially like when you're writing certain things. I think it makes your job a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, the governance of it, I think, is not there yet. And so, like, I'm studying, practicing for my certification AAISM with ISACA. It's the AI
Yeah.
Information Security Management certification. So I'm doing that because I think that's going to be a huge area coming up, how to govern AI. Like, it's like there has to be some kind of oversight, better oversight of it. As far
Mm-hmm.
as which one I use the most, I think it's called Base Code 44. It allows you to create certain apps and stuff like that. I like that
Yeah.
one. I think that one's helpful for me. Um, but yeah, I think it's a good thing, but I think it can be a bad thing if not used properly and not if they're not safeguards and governance and requirements when using it.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I actually was helping with this AI and GRC course, right? So I was kind of like learning like all about the RMF and the framework stuff and all that different stuff. So I was diving into that a bit because it's still especially in terms of AI, it's still fairly new. So a lot of
Yep.
these frameworks and like governments platforms or like laws are still like being created now. Like they're just being created like right now. So I think it's definitely a ripe industry and a ripe place to like be. And I
Yep.
wanted to ask, what do you think is the biggest difference between cyber on the military side and cyber on the civilian side? Like, what do you think is like the biggest difference between like these two different like roles or spaces?
I would say cyber on the military side is focused more on a lot of it's defensive because we know that there are other countries, other adversaries that are trying to get into our networks and get into our grid and do things that will harm us overall, harm our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed, I think that cybersecurity in the private sector is more focused on, and this is just my opinion, them being able to maintain their ability to make money. So like protecting people's data and
Yeah.
protecting that because they don't want to be sued. Number one,
Yeah.
they don't want to lose their reputation as being and be known as a company that is not protecting people's data properly because all that reputation that's going to affect their bottom line. So I think theirs is more focused on money, where ours is more focused on protecting the country for the military side.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. That makes a lot of sense because every single military cyber person, like every single like day in the life is all about like, oh, protecting this, protecting that. They're like this other country's trying to hack this other country trying to hack that. So it's a lot about protecting the actual country instead of
Yeah.
just like, of course the profits are there as well, right? But it's more so about like protecting people's like lives. And I also feel like because I've spoken to a couple other people who worked in like the military side, I think it's a lot more intense, right? I feel like because over there, if you have this one wrong code wrong or this one wrong thing wrong, people could like die. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
lot
Yeah,
more
yeah, lives are
intense.
at stake. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. Or if
a lot
somebody can log into your missile systems, that's a problem.
yeah,
Like redirect those missiles somewhere they shouldn't be. That's a serious problem. You don't want
yeah,
that. So
yeah. The stakes are definitely higher on that end. And be like besides like HammerCon and DefCon, what are some other cyber or tech related like conferences you would recommend? Because I know you said like you travel a lot, but like so what are some other conferences you would think that people should keep up with?
there are a bunch of different series of conferences. There's one that's they go all over the place. I can't remember the name right offhand, but there's one, they always send me like free tickets. They have it virtual or they have it in person. Also think that B-Sides is a good one. So B-Sides has, their little local chapters. I always, find that one that's useful. So
Right.
B-Sides, I want to say this one is insure something with insure. I'll have to look it up. But and then the individual ones, like I know some of the schools have like conferences and stuff like that. I think anything that's local to your area, I always tell people you don't have to travel. Usually, if you're in a fairly
Right.
large city or close to a fairly large city, you can go cybersecurity conferences near me, and they'll bring up them. And a lot of times, if you're a student or if you're military or specific affiliations, will either get you free tickets or seriously discounted tickets. So I say always look
True.
for the discounts first, because some of them can be thousands of dollars to attend, and that adds up really fast. So
Yeah, that's like definitely beautiful, because it's like I haven't. When I first came to Florida, I was going to a lot of different hackathons, but for the past couple of years, I haven't really been to none of the big conferences. Well, I'm plotting on like next year. Like next year, I'm definitely going to be on the circuit. Like, and once I'm on the circuit, like I'm not leaving. You're going to see me at Black Hat, DEF CON, Afro, like every single one of these ones. I'm going to be knocking all of them down. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And so
yeah, AfroCon, that's another one. That's in Houston. I want to go to AfroCon. I've never been. That's definitely on my list of places to go. I believe that was October too, I want to say. But yeah, I definitely want to do that. One's.
I think it's in Texas. I believe so.
Yeah, it's in Houston. Yep, it's like two and a half hours. Yep.
Yeah. So that's definitely on the list as well. But also, so in your military career, right? What would you say has been like the most difficult or like the biggest sacrifice you've had to make? And what do you think is like the biggest blessing or like the number one thing that you like enjoyed from it?
The biggest sacrifice, I would say, is some of the assignments, like when you deploy. I've deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was stationed in Korea. So when you do those tours, they're unaccompanied. So you have to leave your family behind. For me, I have a son. He's now 28, but he has autism. So for him, it's always an adjustment when you leave and come back. It's not like, typical kids, it's hard for them as well. But when you have a child on the spectrum, you leave and you come back. And that, like, my son didn't even want to talk to me for a while. And I was just like, that's heartbreaking. So, and then that initial getting on that plane and leaving, oh my God, like that's the most difficult part ever. So I would say that's definitely what is the worst. I would say the best is some of the people that I've met. Like I met some really amazing people, most of which I still stay in contact with now, and are some of my best friends. So, I was really happy to retire, and I was ready. But I think those relationships were just like, those are something that you can never replace, and they have similar experiences. And, they understand when you talk about certain things, like you love your family, but when you come home and you talk about something with a bunch of people that were never in the military, they're not going to understand what you're saying.
Right.
Like you say BHUT, they don't know what a BHUT is. So it's like other people, you say BHUT, they know what a BHUT is, but it's just, those bonds that you make are wonderful. And plus the retirement check ain't bad, so it's always a plus. So definitely enjoy that.
Yeah, and like the family side, you're saying that you're having to like leave your son with like autism, and then he didn't want to speak to you when he came back. That's crazy. That's crazy.
He was like, whatever. Like, and not even that. Like when you, like when you change over and you go, or even when you're enlisted. So when you're enlisted, you go to BNOC, which is a school that's away from your family. Well, I was stationed in the same place at the time. Excuse me. But normally, if you're not stationed in the place where you go to school, now you're away from your family for 6 months. When you go to warrant officer basic course, you're away from your family. When you go to warrant officer candidate course, you're away from your family. So there's so many times when you're away from your family for training that it just, that's why when we talked previously, I said you have to have a strong spouse. Like your spouse has to be ride or die. Your spouse has to be independent to where they're not going to fall apart when you leave. Your spouse has to know the passwords to the bank. Like they have to be your backbone. They can't, hold things against you because you're gone and you're supporting the family. So that's the biggest thing. It's like that speaks volumes. That's why you see a lot of people that may be higher ranking. They have spouses that they've been married to for 20 years, and she stayed home. She took care of the kids. He didn't have to worry about anything at home. He could focus on his career, and that made him more successful. So,
wow. Yeah, that's pretty deep stuff. Yeah, like after our convo yesterday, I was definitely thinking about this stuff. I was definitely thinking about this stuff a lot
Do
more.
not marry your high school sweetheart just to get her benefits. Don't do it. It's not gonna end well.
Jeez. And also the other point you were saying about the friends you make along the way. I've heard that like a lot. Pretty much majority of like military people I speak to just said about like the friend. He said I got a friend in Korea, France. Like I got friends across the like planet. He was saying so. I do hear that very often as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is like it's irreplaceable. Like you can't. There's nothing like it. It's amazing.
Mm. So now not to get too like political, right? But do you think how much does the military change depending upon the president in office? Is it like a drastic shift every time a new president comes, or is it like the same type of stuff pretty much?
Generally, it's not a drastic shift.
Okay.
Generally, with the current president, absolutely, it's a drastic shift. So, with previous administrations, they had, things like don't ask, don't tell, or, different things where, if you were different, it was okay as long as you just kept your business to yourself. Now it's like, no, we just don't want you in. So
Wow.
it's just, it breaks cohesion. And I feel like this military now, and I'm not in currently, but I feel like it's been made more political. Whereas before, you didn't care who the president was. It didn't matter who the president was. You were going to do your job. You're obligated to do your job. You took oath to do your job. Whereas now, you see a lot more military people come out and speak freely on being MAGA or being, whatever. Most of the ones I see are like, I'm MAGA. Well, you're never supposed to like come out and say who you are. Like that's something that is not supposed to be discussed at work. That's like discussing religion at work. It's just a no-no. But they feel more open about doing it now. They feel more open about going to the Capitol and storming the Capitol and stuff that is just absolutely ridiculous. That would never, never, ever be done before. And then just think like small things like you hold a military parade and you have a guy, the drone guy walking holding the drone, like that kind of just craziness is just like it's just different. Like I think other presidents probably put the country ahead of their own self gratification. I think.
Right.
But again, just my opinion. That's what I see. But I think it's more polarized now because people are feeling more free to come out and say what they really want to say. Where that's not okay in the military. You're not supposed to do that. You work beside people that think completely different from you and may not even like you. But you still have to fight together.
Literally, yeah.
So, but yeah, now it's just people are just freely saying stuff they shouldn't be saying, and then it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like I don't really keep up with this stuff as much as I should. Like in terms of politics, this is not really my world or ecosystem. But the thing about the military, I feel like now it's becoming like more embedded, right? So when you think about it, when I think about it now, it's a bit more. I have to think a bit twice, in a sense. But so coming from the military, coming back to the civilian world, like how would you say when you're just out and about, right, and you're shopping, and people are like, oh, what did you do? Oh, I just did 20 years in the military, right? How what is people's like reaction to you? Like, what was like the general reaction to you?
When I first got out, it was more shock because I looked a lot younger. People are like, you did 20 years in the military? But now, like especially in the San Antonio area, it's common. There's so many retirees here that almost everybody's a retiree. Okay. So it's like not as big of a deal, but people sometimes are still surprised because I don't know why some people don't think of women as being in the military and the army. It's like, yeah, we're in there. So it's still that kind of like if you ask for military discount, they usually assume, who's the sponsor? And I'm like, I'm the sponsor. I serve in the military. They're like, oh, okay, thank you for your service. But they automatically assume that you're so yeah.
That's crazy. Well, you do look really young though, honestly. When you told me you did 20 years, I'm like, where? When? Like, how is that possible?
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful though. And what's the other question I had? The military benefits. I lost my train of thought. Oh no, I remember. So with Black women in cyber, right? Well, just training in general, right? What do you think is like one of the biggest hurdles for people getting deeper into cyber in general? Like, what do you think is like the biggest holdup or the biggest thing that slows them down?
I think one of the things is how the jobs are advertised. So you have entry level jobs that are advertised, but they want like 3 years of experience. It doesn't go together,
Yeah.
or they want entry level jobs, but you have to have like 4 certifications that entry level people generally don't have. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. There needs to be more programs that are truly entry level. And there are a lot of like internships. I think that's great. Most of the large DoD companies, FBI, CIA, DISA, all those have internships. They're competitive to get into, but I tell people if you can get into them, that's great because sometimes you can transition right into a job there. NSA also has one. So I think there should be truly more internship programs. And then I think another barrier is the actual hands-on experience, because normally when you're entry level, and I tell people, I think it's a good idea to start at the help desk, the customer support, because you learn the hardware, the software piece of it, like you learn the base of everything, and you need to know that base throughout your career. So I think that's always a good place to start. I worked there briefly, but I'm not really good with people like that all the time. So it wasn't everywhere I would want to stay. But I think that's a good starting point. But the hands-on is not in some of the training courses or some of the like the degrees, the hands-on portion I think is lacking in a lot of areas. You give students guidance and say, hey, here's instructions to create a home lab or whatever. But when you can't walk them through it and go through different things with them, are they really learning, or are they just following steps, but they don't know what they're doing when they're doing the steps? And that's a problem. So anybody can get the instructions and type this, and I see a screenshot. Okay, this is it. But what am I doing, right? So it's more important, I think, for people to walk it through them and be like, okay, when you see these things run across the screen, when it's initializing, this is what this means, this is what that means, this is what that means. I think that's more important, and that needs to be done more of. But it's just, I think that area is lacking because a lot of, places are trying to get people their degrees and out the door. And not necessarily, because education is a business. They want to make money. School is expensive. So they're just trying to get more people out the door, more people in. But I don't think that they're preparing the students 100% to be ready to go into those jobs that they're supposed to be ready for when they graduate. I think that's a big problem as well.
Yeah, there's like you basically listed all of the like disconnects pretty much, because there's a lot of them. And the last part about the educational aspect and the hands-on aspect is interesting, because usually like hands-on people say get like a home lab, right? And you can still do that, but I feel like there's a difference between going, similar to what we were saying earlier, doing stuff on your own, right? It's possible, but then actually being guided and mentored by someone who like literally could explain it to you. Because I'm doing even an internship at my school here, right? And literally verbatim, I'll just ask him the question, he answers it. Oh, why are you using this tool that way? Here's why. It's like immediate, it's like real life. It's like AI be like for AI. Before AI, we had mentors.
Right, exactly.
We had people to actually like give us the response like instantly there. So I definitely think that's
and with AI is not going to encourage you like a mentor will. Like we tell our ladies all the time, like, you have self-doubt, you have imposter syndrome, but you're not an imposter. You're here because you're supposed to be here. You are worthy. Like, don't slight yourself. Like, we all do that, but it's important to have somebody in their ear to boost them up and let them know that you're no different from anybody else out here. You're just as good, if not better than everybody else, because we know you a lot of times have to work harder to get where you are. So own that, be proud of that, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you need to be told different, just send me a message and I'll tell you again. So I think that's important for people to hear over and over again, because people will get discouraged and some people will leave the field because, when I go to work, there's nobody that looks like me. I see this person over here helping them, but who's here to help me? Who's here to guide me? No one. So they leave the field or they get discouraged. And that's what we don't want, because smart as I don't know what. Think about all the things that we invented when we had nothing. So we deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. And that's what is important to let them know.
Yeah. Oh no, that's a beautiful point, and I feel like that's a beautiful part to end. Like, I know that we could probably speak for like 5 hours straight, but we usually do this for like an hour. But I wanted the last just give people all of your future conferences you're going to, your links, your social media, your businesses, your brands, your networks. Just give them all of the information about you so they can stay in contact.
Okay, so I'm on LinkedIn. It's just Carmeshia Miller, CarmeshiaMiller on LinkedIn. I don't really use X or Instagram, so I won't give that out. But also, if you want to go to the Blacks in Cybersecurity page, you can get the information for Blacks in Cybersecurity for their membership information, and the cohort information will be coming out. Also, follow Blacks in Cybersecurity on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on all the different platforms. And then that way, when there are cohorts that are released and the dates are coming out, then you will be able to see that information. Coming up, I'll be at DEF CON August, I think it's 6th through 9th. I'll be at HammerCon September 24th. And right now, those are only conferences I plan on going to this year. So, but we'll be at the Blacks in Cybersecurity table. So if you're there, come by and say hello, and I'll be there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom. I know that they're going to get like a ton of value from this.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time.
Awesome. You have a good one. Bye-bye.